You ever told your parents, I'm starving. I need something to eat. Nobody? Yeah. Oh, I'm hungry all the time. In fact, I'm hungry now. And that's a natural thing. We have to eat, right, to live, and we have to have drinks water to live as well, and it's important. And so it's important, I brought any of you ever had an air sandwich? Yeah, see, you got a couple pieces of bread. There is gluten in here, just warning. And it's an air sandwich.
Air sandwich.
Yeah, air sandwich. And it's pretty good. You know what? I'm actually going to share my air sandwich with you. I want everybody, I'm going to pass it around. Everybody take a piece, and we'll see what we have afterwards. So just rip a hunk off there and pass it on to the next person. Don't eat it. Don't eat it right now. Are you blue? All right, you're up front here. Perfect. Yeah, grab a chunk off there and pass it around. Go ahead. All right, rip off a piece. I think we have a couple volunteers who haven't gotten. Janet, did you get any?
No, it's okay. I'm full.
You're full. Mark, did you need it? Mark needs a piece. You all are good. Did we have enough over there? We have just a little bit left. All right, so 2 pieces of bread doesn't go very far, does it? Okay, so if you were really hungry, you would have probably went, right, and eaten it up and then not left any for anybody else. Now, it is just regular white bread. If you want to eat what you took, that's fine. If you don't, I'll pass the bag around and you can put it in here. You're full. All right, so just throw it in there. So this is to demonstrate that a piece of bread can go a long way, right? A piece of bread can go a long way, but it's not going to feed us a whole lot. And so, we need food. And our story for today. Did you want to do another song before we do the story? All right, I'll tell the story and then we'll sing another song. So our story for today is in a couple of the different Gospels. Now, if you remember from last year, or maybe you don't remember from last year, this is a Bible. Okay, this is a Bible. It's something we believe in our church. And there are different readings. We call it Scripture sometimes. So if you hear me say Scripture, it's different. This is from the Story Spark Bible, which has pictures and everything. So this story comes from the New Testament, which is the part of the Bible that talks about Jesus. And this is going to be maybe leaders a little bit different than the one you're going to be using, but it'll be the same idea, okay? Jesus feeds 5,000. I think our story says 4,000 today. So it was a beautiful sunny day as Jesus and his disciples crossed the Sea of Galilee in a boat and white sails. Jesus had been healing sick people, and many more people of all ages came to see him again that day. Maybe they could hear more of Jesus' stories or see him show God's power through another miracle. When Jesus saw the large crowd of men and women and children, he asked his friend Philip, "How are we going to get enough food to feed all of these people?" So that's this side. Do you see it? Do you see the picture? Some of you can't see the picture because you're not looking up here. All right. Philip answered, "I could work for 6 months and not earn enough money to buy food for all of these men, women, and children." The disciples didn't know what to do. Thank you. Just then, Andrew pointed to a young child and said, "Here is a boy who has 5 small loaves of bread and 2 fish. It is something, but it certainly isn't enough for all these people." The boy looked very nervous, and he said in a small voice, "Jesus, please take my food if you think it will help." Jesus took the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and that the boy offered, and asked his friends to have the crowd sit down. About 5,000 people sat in the grassy meadow by the lake that day. After Jesus gave thanks to God, he blessed the 5 loaves of bread and fish. Then he shared the food with all the people who were there that day. All 5,000 people ate until they were filled. 5,000 people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of food, right? Then Jesus said, now let's gather up all the leftovers. And do you know what? There were enough leftover pieces of bread to fill 12 large baskets. More loaves and fishes left over than the boy had given to Jesus. The disciples shook their heads in disbelief as they struggled to pick up their baskets, heavy with food. The people saw the full baskets of leftovers and began to understand that something extraordinary had just happened, another miracle. Jesus smiled as he heard people say, God must have sent Jesus to us. It was a day the boy, the disciples, and all the other people would never forget. So here they are afterwards, after they've all eaten and had their share, right? And so today we're talking about feeding, and this is just what Jesus does. Here's another picture of it. You're going to see this again. Okay. How many of you have ever had people over to the house and not had enough pizza? And so your mom or your dad's like, oh, I don't know what we're going to feed these people, right? And somehow, at least in my family, it always seemed there was food somehow. Now, those weren't miracles like Jesus' miracles. Those were my mom and dad planning ahead to make sure they had food in the house. But it's important that we eat together. And Jesus at this time had been out and healing. He was healing and he was teaching. And that's why the crowds were coming towards him, was because people were hearing about who he was and what he did. And one of the things he does is he feeds us. And feeding us is good. And getting health and getting water is good, because it's important to our bodies that we have that.